Hello everyone, I'm Justin, and for today's video, we're joining a new world. Today, I want to talk about a new anime that was silently released recently on Netflix. Not too many people were talking about it, and as of now, it is barely even recommended on Netflix. But I wanted to give it an opportunity and be fair with my assessment if this anime deserved that treatment or if it was a hidden gem. So, let's take a look at this new anime called Good Night World. But before we begin, here is a fair warning that I will be giving some spoilers about the story as well as its ending. And with that said, let's move on with the video. Good Night World is yet another take on the oversaturated game world animes where if you die in the game, you die in real life. The anime focuses on the Akabane family, a group of 4 people playing the most popular VR MMO called Planet. Our main protagonist is Ichi, the older brother of the group, A, the younger brother, Mai, the mother, and Shiro, the father. They are the strongest guild in the world, capable of defeating any enemy. But, unbeknown to them, in reality, they are also a family. Ichi is a shorin. A is the overachieving high school student that mostly represses his feelings. Shiro is the short-tempered and distant father, and Mai, a disorganized and neglectful mother. The anime starts as your typical VR MMO story. We are set in this world of a video game. We see the few important guilds that will serve to keep the story moving, mainly the pirates led by Pico, and the Granada Company led by Leon and Sasumata. The start made me feel like this anime had potential. There were power struggles, an interesting dynamic between the family and its enemies, a set goal in defeating the Black Bird and obtaining a reward, and a bit of psychological tones with the IRL issues of the dysfunctional family. Later on, the story starts to change with the concept that the Black Bird is a virus that traps your mind if he kills you in-game. And I do have to say that I thought that the plot twist regarding Pico's background at the end of episode 5 was pretty cool. But I was really disappointed with the last third of the anime. They completely disregard the game world, bring a few monsters and concepts from the game into the real world, and basically just call it a day. The power system was completely thrown out the window, and I personally think that the ending was not fulfilling at all. This didn't come from a single bad decision, because by itself the ending wasn't that bad. But instead, it was about the way they reached the ending, as well as a lot of minor decisions and changing the behavior of the characters just to fit the needs in the plot. I think that the behavior between their in-game characters and their real-life personals was completely opposite. I would say that the one with the closest personality would be Ichi, but even then, sometimes he would just act a bit weird. And I know some people would say, come on, people act different in games or like to roleplay. But are you telling me that the parents would rather like to roleplay as a good family with perfect strangers rather than take care of their real families? I think that this is especially obvious with Shiro. When he is in the game, he acts as a loving father and takes care of the kids. But in real life, he literally was beating his kids. And this doesn't only apply to the family. The worst example has to be Shigatera, the second in command of the Pico Pirates. He is supposed to be a close aide, the most trusted friend of Pico. And through the first episodes, he never even hints any dissatisfaction towards the game. But as soon as it fits the story, he conveniently has always hated the game and was only playing for the money. It literally made no sense. There are a few other things like the game creator that was investigating AI and created them as cores for the Black Bird. How did he didn't knew who were the AI players and had to investigate them? There is also never really confirming that the mother was actually Mai, but everyone just was rolling with that assumption. Or how about the death of the little sister? It is barely even mentioned in the story, and even if they hint at a killer, they never fully explain what happened. But of course, they bring it up every time it is necessary for the story, like using it to show how the mother has psychological issues and can't accept her daughter's death, even if they only use it one single time in the story. There is also the topic of the gore. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy a bit of blood and intestines as anyone else. But it has to be done tastefully, and either you do it all the time or just don't do it at all. It felt like they were using gore randomly as a shock value in random scenes, and honestly, it didn't really feel like it belonged into this type of anime. And lastly, I want to talk about the ending. So here is a final warning that if you want to watch the anime first, you should stop now. Okay, so at the end, the Blackbird connects the real world and the video game in some way. They say it's through electronics, but it's never really explained. People start to die to monsters, and the family loses their powers and are taken to a shelter. Except for Shiro, who as the creator of the game, could hack the world and use his powers. But by the end, he sacrifices himself and dies together with the Blackbird, who apparently was an AI representing the deceased little sister. Even though they had previously explained how you needed to scan the brain in order to create an AI copy, and the Blackbird had literally murdered people and put them through death loops. But you're telling me that all of this was done by an innocent little girl that was constantly beaten up by her parent? And Ichi, just forgiving his father, even when he treated his family like trash, denied responsibility for the death of his little sister, literally killed his best friend and never actually apologized? He forgave him? I mean, come on. I know this is a fantasy, but you're being delusional at this point. Overall, this anime had a strong start, but by its middle point, it quickly lost steam and became a disappointment. Especially because of the random decisions of moving the plot forward, even if the actions of the characters made no sense based on their previous behavior. I think there is a reason why this anime didn't got any hype and has already been forgotten. Because without characters that fit a story, and throwing random elements without thinking about it, you're just setting yourself up for failure. I would personally had loved if they would have focused more on the video game world as well as the development of the family relationship, rather than becoming a grandiose story about saving the world. I personally thought that the VR MMO and the abilities looked really fun and interesting, especially with the idea that they could develop their own powers in a similar way to coding a program. But alas, we got a disappointing story filled with unnecessary sci-fi that didn't really go anywhere. I can't personally recommend this anime, as I think it is too flawed, and by the end, I wasn't really enjoying the story. But at least I can say that the beginning was interesting. And with that said, we come to the conclusion of this anime review. What did you guys thought of Good Night World? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, see you guys next time.